all your stuff. What can figure it out? That's how it chooses you.
Oh, hey, Claire.
Oh, hey, Teresa.
Are you ready for It Chooses You Smidgen Edition?
I am always ready for It Chooses You Smidgen Edition. It's what I dream of at night.
I dream of a day that is not too far away where I can listen to one of us talk about something pop culture we like. It's so exciting. So the Smidgen is my domain this week.
That's right.
And I have a movie that is a full-on bummer, but is also very funny. I think it's technically categorized as a black comedy.
Lay it on me.
It's killing me. I've been thinking about it since I watched it. So I found it by watching a couple clips on YouTube and then actually purchased it to watch. It's that good.
You were like, yes, I need this.
This one. Okay. So it's called Promising Young Woman. It's written and directed by Emerald Fennell, who plays Camilla in this season of The Crown.
Uh-huh.
And was also in Call the Midwife in later seasons after I sort of stopped watching it because melodrama, I only have so much bandwidth for melodrama. But she's very good in both.
She's also one of the showrunners of Killing Eve.
Oh, nice. That makes a lot of sense. She's a great writer. This is a great movie. Okay, so it stars Carey Mulligan, who is also completely fucking awesome, and features just a ton of people who are amazing in themselves and who are great actors. So Laverne Cox is in it, Max Greenfield, Chris Mintz-Plasse, Molly Shannon, Alfred fucking Molina is in this movie.
Yeah.
It is so good. Like, I could watch Alfred Molina like eat a casserole. If it was like, you know what, this fringe show is Alfred Molina eating a plate of spaghetti and the entry fee is $25, I'll pay it. It's going to be amazing. I will have never seen someone eat spaghetti that way before.
Take all my money.
That's right. Oh my God. I watch him do anything. I love him so much.
Is this a discussion of the film that you would recommend for people who haven't heard it? Or is it more like, is it spoiler free? Or is it more like, watch it and then listen to this?
I was coming to that. So, as you all know, Claire really likes to do spoiler-free commentary on things because she, I think, in herself wants to experience it without spoilers, and so she assumes that there are lots of people who also like that, and she caters to them. This is going to be so full of fucking spoilers, you're going to die. Like, if you want to enjoy this film as, like, and not know what happens, do not listen to me talk about it because I don't care about spoilers. I prefer to know. So this Smidgen is for people who don't mind knowing what a movie is before they watch it.
Well, I'm excited because I know about this film and I'm really interested in it, but I wasn't sure if I could handle it or not. So I'm really excited to hear you talk about it so that I can then find out if I can do it or not. And if not, I'll still know what happened.
Yeah. Is it Montessori or Waldorf education that like doesn't allow suspense for children? Like, they don't want to ever create anxiety or anything like that for kids. I can't remember who it is.
I spent the first few years of my education in Montessori school, and I don't recall there being a lot of suspense, but I don't recall that being a specific thing. So maybe it's Waldorf, but I wasn't privy to the ins and outs of the Montessori pedagogy, of course. As a 4-year-old.
Yeah, as a 4-year-old, washing your feet in a bucket. You weren't? Yeah, okay. So I don't know what it is, but baby Teresa, who lives inside adult Teresa at all times, does not enjoy suspense in this particular way. And so I always like to know what happens. This movie, oh my God. So tons of trigger warnings in here. If you are a survivor of sexual assault, you're probably not going to want to watch it. You're probably not going to want to listen. Take care of yourself. But if you're like me and you keep looking for movies and TV stories that tell these stories in a really skillful, funny, intelligent way, this is absolutely the movie you should watch. It is incredibly good. So this movie is about 2 young women, Cassie and Nina. They are in medical school together. They have been friends since childhood. Something terrible happens to Nina. She is raped at a party. She drops out of medical school. Cassie drops out of medical school to take care of her and never goes back. So it's basically, we are watching sort of 7 years later what has become of these 2 lives because of this event. And it's a black comedy, and it is very, very funny. But it's very, very funny because it's so dark and true. We basically, in the movie, watch Cassie figure out how to live her life and deal with this trauma. We catch up with her when she's about 30. She's working in a coffee shop. She didn't return to med school. Her life sort of fell apart because this thing happened to her friend. And we find out later that her friend didn't make it. Like, I think her friend killed herself, although my memory, like, I watch these things very late after I've done a full day's work and studying, so I do miss some key details, like whether or not this woman killed herself. And I feel like that's not a detail I should miss, but, you know, this is part of what it is to watch a movie, is maybe you get about 82% of it, you know? And unfortunately, that's one of the pieces that I'm not carrying with me. But she's not in the movie at all. We don't see her. We hear about her. She's absent. So Cassie is figuring out, to me, it's like watching her like just repeat this thing over and over again and see if something new will happen. Because what she does is she goes out every week. She pretends to get so drunk that she can't stand. She's in a public place, bar, club, wherever. And she waits for someone to try and take her home, to try and help her, in heavy air quotes, and take her home. And then when that happens, and she is invariably sexually assaulted. Now she's not raped every time, because she at a certain point will like come out of it and be like, I'm not actually drunk. So what are you doing?
Wow.
And watching these men freak out when they thought they were going to get away with it, and then they find out that they've been seen behaving this way. It's so scary, because we know, like, don't make a man fear for his career, because he might actually kill you if you do that. So it's terrifying to watch her do it, because she is making herself vulnerable in this way. Whether she's drunk or not, she is in their place most of the time, right? So she's doing that, and she's doing it sort of on repeat. And we see her flipping through a notebook where she's like marking down the number of times it happens, essentially.
Wow.
So this is going on, working at her coffee shop. Her boss is called Gail, and she's played by Laverne Cox. And it's just beautiful. She's a great actress, as we know. The thing that first I was like, oh my gosh, this thing passes the Bechdel test, which of course we want it to all the time. And for those of you who don't know, this is a very old test by which you judge the feminist cred, or like the level of feminism in a piece of work. And the Bechdel test requires that there be at least 2 named female characters who talk to each other about something other than a man. It's a very simple test, right? But something like 90% of films fail it. I mean, it's very telling, but this one completely does.
Which is interesting, because it seems like the male figures are very prominent, right? At least in this revenge fantasy, there's a lot of men in the film, yet they still don't obsess on only that, right?
Yeah. So we see Cassie start to date someone that she knew in med school. And also we see her formulate a plan for how she's going to handle this. And she's dating this person, and she appears to be developing real feelings for this person, and they are falling in love at the same time that she's basically going through the list of the people who ruined Nina's life, and by extension her own, as she was helping Nina. And she goes and she takes revenge on them. Mm-hmm. And so it's one of my favorite things, which is a revenge movie. It's a righteous revenge movie. Mm-hmm. It's a funny feminist revenge movie. I cannot recommend it highly enough.
Oh, man.
I won't tell you everything that happens, of course, because watch the thing. It's much a better writer than I am talking about it. But one of my favorite scenes is between Carey Mulligan playing Cassie and Chris Mintz-Plasse, who plays some random dude, random nice guy who takes her home when she's super drunk.
I think I've seen that clip, too, where he's like, but I'm a nice guy.
But I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. She's like, really? Well, I mean, you did shake me awake before you put your fingers inside of me. So I guess, you know, you're better than some of the other people that have taken me home. Like, it's really that. Wow. It's like, no, I'm nice. But as soon as she's sober, he no longer wants to engage at all. He's just terrified. And she says, so do you still want to fuck me? And he like can't even make eye contact. And she's like, yeah, it's funny. None of you ever do. Isn't that interesting? But my favorite scene is her scene with Alfred Molina, because Alfred Molina plays the lawyer who represented. After Nina was raped, she went to her school and she said, I was raped at this party. This is who did it. The school did nothing. She tried to press charges, but this lawyer played by Alfred Molina at the time bullied and threatened and basically ruined her life to protect his client, the rapist. And Cassie catches up with him at his home as part of her revenge plot. She knocks on the door. He answers. He's a fucking mess. He's got a week of stubble. His hair's a mess. His clothes are like, he's not put together at all. And she comes in and she starts talking to him. And he says, he basically says, I knew someone would be coming. Do you want to hurt me? And she says, do you want me to hurt you? And he says, yeah, I think I deserve it. Because he has had an epiphany that all of these horrible things he's doing are horrible. And the fact that he protects rapists and the whole system by which the whole legal system is set up to protect rapists, right? And it's innocent until proven guilty, which is great. Until a single photo of a drunk woman at a party is enough to throw a jury off of her and make them believe things about her that she somehow deserved this nonsense. So he basically begs her forgiveness. She says, do you know this person, your former client, and names the rapist? And I won't name him. I don't even remember his name. Doesn't matter. And he says, yes. And he says, your friend was Nina, right? Nina was her name? And she's like, and she's surprised because, of course, like most people are like, who?
Don't remember the victims.
Right, exactly. But he does. He begs her for forgiveness in a way. He says, I can't sleep. And that scene is so powerful, not only because he acknowledges what he has done and the evil of it and is ready to make amends and asks for forgiveness, but because Cassie hasn't been nervous. We haven't seen her nervous. She has been completely in control and smart. And I mean, they were in medical school. They are geniuses, these two women, right? She has been in control, smart, funny, and on it every time she's putting herself in danger by pretending to be drunk to go home with these men. But then when he apologizes and asks for forgiveness, she freaks out. She gets really scared.
Because she never thought it would happen.
Yes, exactly.
She wasn't prepared for that because it never fucking happens.
Unexpected, right? So she gets nervous and then she forgives him. And it's so beautiful. And then when she walks out of his house, she walks to her car and there's a guy who we've never seen before and don't see again in the film leaning against her car. And he says, I go in now? And she says, no. And he says, I still get paid though. And she says, yeah.
Wow. She had a hitman at the ready.
She had somebody ready. Yeah, exactly.
I love to when movies surprise you like that, when the character has planned something that you didn't expect and it jumps out and surprises you.
Yes.
But then it surprises you also in its detour, like he didn't do what he was intended to do.
That's right. And we've seen her by this point engage with all of these men where the pattern repeats. They attempt to take advantage of someone vulnerable over and over and over again. And then she goes to the person whose profession it was to take advantage of people who are vulnerable. And he's the one who asks for forgiveness. I love Alfred Molina. Sorry. As we know, if we read these stories, and particularly if we listen to podcasts that talk about true crime, we know that men don't always start with murder. They often start with assault. And so you can intuit the end of this film by the fact that she's engaging with all of these men who have done these things. She eventually catches up with the person who sexually assaulted her friend Nina in medical school.
Okay.
She finds him again and goes to his bachelor party undercover as a stripper. She confronts him. He kills her.
Oh, fuck.
And then Max Greenfield, who was Schmidt in New Girl, okay? So I've seen him be funny. He was a really interesting but small character in The Assassination of Gianni Versace, which is another great miniseries everyone should watch. He's a really good actor. He comes in and finds his friend with this woman he has murdered, and he comforts his friend, and his friend is crying and scared because what's going to happen to his life now? And how dare this woman do this to him? And he didn't do anything to deserve this, etc., etc. And Max Greenfield's character hugs him and comforts him and says, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You didn't ask for this. This isn't your fault." Which is such a beautiful reversal of how women comfort each other after one of us has been assaulted, right? And just so disgusting. Like that reversal makes it clear how it's such good filmmaking. She's a goddamn genius.
And that's where it ends.
No.
Okay. Don't tell me anything else.
No, I won't tell you anything else. And I won't tell our listeners anything else. It doesn't end there.
Okay.
Please, everyone, watch this. I feel like we need to have a nationwide conversation about this movie. So it's very important to me. If you listen to this podcast, please go and watch this film and then get in touch with us so we can all talk about it, because it's so amazing and I love it so much.
Oh my gosh.
So that is just a really quick, completely spoiler-full, minor conversation about this amazing treasure trove of like completely true and right filmmaking and writing that is Emerald Fennell's Promising Young Woman.
Oh, love it.
So good.
Can't wait to watch it. I'm in.
Please do. We'll talk about it later, you guys. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us for the Smidgen. We hope you're doing well, and wherever you found us, please like, subscribe, and most importantly, download our episodes. Thank you so much.
Yay. Thank you.
Testing? Great. Thank you for listening to It Chooses You. Your hosts are Teresa Sparks and Claire Patton. Our theme song is by Bobby Dart. If you'd like to get in touch with us, drop us an email at itchoosesyoupodcast@gmail.com.